it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast, where we dive into the complexities of love and life. And I'm your host, Charlie Perry. And I'm so glad you're here. We've all been there. We've been there where we are faced with some heartbreaks, disappointment, uncertainty. Oh my God. And but here's the thing. You're not alone. No one's alone, right? You're not alone. There's always others that are out there that walked in your shoes who have felt the same pain and struggle to find their way. On this podcast, we explore the ups and downs of life, love, and life, and remind you that no matter what you're going through, you're part of a community that understands. And that's my message to everyone out there, including myself and my wonderful guest. You know that you're part of a community, and you're not alone. You may need to speak to someone. Please join us on this podcast. We're going to try to do this every 4 weeks or so, and we just talked about the next date. The next time we're going to come on. That'll be in January, probably January 8th. And so just kind of count down the weeks, every 4 weeks. We'll be doing this. But I'm always open to a podcast. I'm always open to do a podcast as long as I'm home. All I got to do is put this laptop on and get connected to the Wi-Fi. And then, boom, we got a podcast. So, and these two great people on the screen along my side is Marvin, Coach M100. He's definitely a 100 kind of guy, and I love him dearly. And Paula Santos Young, who you she's with me every week, every Monday on Fentanyl Facts and Stories, and we talk about the dangers of fentanyl and the destruction it's causing this country, this world. And Paula is definitely a strong advocate to make sure that those facts are very truthful. Kind of that come out right. Facts, hypocritical, truthful. I don't know. It's weird, but we definitely do our best to get the right things on this platform and get the message out to everyone. So, without further ado, my guest. So, what's going on, Paula? How's your day?
Busy. Extremely busy.
Get caught in the rain?
Please, come on. With this hair.
Did you have a bad hair day?
you know I can't go out in the rain in this hair. I mean, no. I'd be looking like a wet rat right now with all of you.
That's it. And kind of shake it off, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to shake off. Definitely a lot to shake off. Yeah, I think this is great that we do this because I think it's so important, and I'm sure that Marvin would probably chime in. People are going through a lot right now, and I was sent something today, and it was the best message I've heard in a long time. Words matter.
Yeah,
words matter, and how you speak to people, and your words can break someone or they can lift them up. And I think that's why we're here. And I'm so appreciative that Marvin has agreed to do this with me, because I know he has his own podcast, which I think is amazing, with Liz, because I think people need to understand that coming together to really talk about this is important. So many times it's put under the rug and people don't want to talk about loss, or they're taught that once the person is buried, that's it, they're gone. And that's so not the case. That is so not the case. And I won't keep speaking, but everyone knows my story. in losing our son 2 years ago to fentanyl poisoning unexpectedly. And I can tell you that one of the things that I continue to see, and Marvin, Charlie, and everyone listening, is when you suffer loss from a spouse, a child, a loved one, no one kind of checks in on you anymore. There's not that text message coming and saying, "Hey, just checking in." And that really matters because people are struggling. And what people don't understand with grief is it doesn't go away. It's not, tomorrow is yes, we have good days, but a lot more of them are not good. And we're learning to carry it with us as a piece of luggage. We're learning to put the mask on when we get up so we can face the world, especially a society that tells you, well, that person, it's been a year. What are you doing? Like, come on, move on.
Yeah,
No, absolutely not. And again, I so appreciate Marvin for taking the time to do this with us. Thank you, because it means it's truly humbling, and I appreciate you and Liz. She was on last time for doing this because I think it's important for people to hear from men. And I say this all the time with my parents and Charlie. We've talked about this on the podcast on Mondays. We hear from the moms, but we're not hearing from the dads. We're not hearing from the husbands. And thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, it means a lot. Sometimes us guys kind of sit back and try to absorb, the pain we're going through, and thinking that we could kind of deal with it on our own. I'll get through this, and sometimes that ends up being the worst the worst part of, I don't want to say recovery, but because there's no such thing as a recovery when it comes to things like this. But I think that when it comes to getting a little bit better, this guy, a friend of mine, Jose Miguel, used to say, "I'm trying to be a better man than I was yesterday," and that's so true with a lot of things, including love and grief. So, but I just shared this podcast on both your pages. So if your friends and family want to comment, they can just go on. I made it public.
Okay.
That way they'll have it. Marvin, how was your day, man?
Man, the day was great. Hell, I woke up this morning, so it was pretty good. I was able to get things done, and and thank you, Paula, for the wonderful words, and thank you, Charlie, I'm grateful for being a guest on what you all are doing. You all are doing amazing things.
Back at you.
Paula, my heart continues to go out. Someone wrote something on, I made Liz and I did a recording last week, and I posted it on my page. And it was about how sometimes the ones that we love the most, it hits the hardest. And you're something you can't be ready for, but I'm sure we'll dive a little bit into that. And, one thing I can say, this is a great possibility for people to come together and just talk with one another, because everybody's gone through some form of losing someone they love. So I jumped at the chance of joining you all because an opportunity for us to come, I consider it like breaking bread, where we come on, just kind of build how you're feeling and all that. And one of the things I talked about is like, wherever you're feeling is okay. There is no magic way to do any of this, right? Whatever feels right. And we're all trying to maneuver through this thing we call life, and grief is part of life. And this stuff can kind of put you back on your heels, but it's just an opportunity to learn and grow. And I think, Paul, is interesting. This is the part of grief that people don't talk about. Grief in some people's mind, it's a year time. I'll stay in touch with them for the first year, and all of a sudden it starts to fade a little bit. I have to say, I have some special people that constantly reach out. How you doing? And I think it's great, especially for men. Liz and I talked about it's different a lot. Society puts caps on men. This is probably why men don't talk a lot about their feelings and grief, because they're like, well, a man just need to kind of suck it up and keep moving forward. And then you think about mental health amongst men is the worst it's ever been. You know, relationships at an all-time low, marriages at an all-time low, because men are battered and broken because of the expectations put on society. It's bad enough the expectations from society have broken women in half, and now you're going for the other half. Now it's like, well, men have been put on these unfair expectations, and I'm like, hey, it's time to retreat. And I'll figure this out on my own. You can't. Everybody has talked about this since the beginning of the time. We need each other, people. Don't get this twisted.
Yeah, that's so true. We have since we kind of got together, and actually since the first time that Marvin and Liz and I had met and talked live, every single week the list of grievers, lovers, has gotten bigger and bigger.
Yep.
Friends of mine have the loss of a mom, loss of a sibling, loss of a child. So every week there's another potential person coming on this podcast and kind of sharing their story. There's a very good friend of mine that I like to get on here, because he's I think he's kind of holding things in, and I know he's out there listening. And big guy, you know who you are, so when you're ready to come and talk, if you feel like it, you've always been a savior of different people, been a mentor for many people, and you know what, this is something else that you can possibly help yourself out and help some others out. So when you're ready to join us on this podcast, please come on, and you know who you are.
And can I share something with that?
Sure.
Thank you for saying that, and thank you both for saying what you're saying. If you don't get it out, if you don't get grief out, whether you're with a therapist or talking to people, there is a high chance you will get broken physically. There are so many studies out there, people who've died from losing someone very close to them, especially a significant other, and their health deteriorates. People who have lost children, close relatives, same thing. You have to keep an eye on your health, because it will break your ass down.
Yeah,
it will ruin your health because of a lot of diseases are attributed to high levels of stress and doing nothing with that stress. And so stress of losing someone, that grief, it'll cause your health to suffer. I had to take heed, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I have to make sure one of my goals is to have perfect health, because if not, you're just going to be in trouble, because it's not like you're walking around angry all the time, maybe internal, but that internal strife is definitely making a big impact on your health. So I hope everybody has an opportunity to, get with your doctor, get with whoever you need to get with, and try to do things that make you feel better, do better, eat better, sleep better, etc. Because this stuff will literally kill you.
Yeah.
And it has, as Charlie knows, and I'll share with all of you, being in my circle of such amazing parents, grieving parents, because unfortunately the Army continues to grow instead of stop. We've had parents, moms who have taken their lives because of the loss of their children, and because broken heart syndrome is a real thing. And I think, to touch upon what you said, Marvin, It's find your, I always say this, find your tribe and stick with them, because those are the ones that are going to help you through this. Because one of the things is, I don't need you to fix me. I just need you to stand with me as I try to fix myself and pick up the pieces of the heart that has been shattered and the soul that is crushed.
It's powerful. Yeah. Yep.
And I think that that's what we're here for, right? We're here to let people know that it's okay to talk about how you feel. It's okay to say you're not having a good day. I mean, one of the things that we always do as grieving parents is we're always checking in with each other. We never say, how are you? Because that's just, you just don't use those words. We say we're checking in, because again, words have power to them.
Yeah. And it's,
Check. I love that. I love that phrase, Paul. I love it.
I'm going to start texting you now every week, checking in.
Love it, man. That's very powerful.
Yeah, it's there's a couple of, like I said, a couple of friends, and I'd like to get them on. And the grief is he's going through, or they're going through, is their mom lost their mom.
Mhm.
And I'd like to get all three of the brothers on here, kind of let it out if they don't mind, even if it's not a video, it's just audio with them. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because the three men, they don't want to probably see the tears coming down their eyes or anything like that. So I'm going to offer it to them and then kind of see if we can get them to come on, after January 8th, or even before that. But we'll see.
And I think that one of the biggest things too that we can also touch upon, and Marvin, I don't know if I'm sure you'll agree, and Lynette just posted a comment. There's no time limit on grief.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell people all the time, it's, how long did I love my child?
Yeah.
Did I only love my child for a year?
Right.
I only loved him for 2 years? No, I loved him since the moment he was born. You loved your wife since the moment you met her. That doesn't stop because that person's not there. And I think one of the biggest things that really has helped a lot of us grieving parents is to have the understanding that they're always around us. Someone said to me, they said, Paula, he's around, you just can't see him. He's in a different room, but he's leaving you messages and signals and signs and leaving you things to let you know that he's right there always. They don't go away because love doesn't die.
Yeah, no.
I
Just think to the spirit of Andrew, right? The spirit of Kristen. Guess what? That's so overwhelming. Their spirit is just so overwhelming that there's no way heaven could captivate all of it. So they leave it down here for us. So when Paula, you need something that you feel like there's a tap on your shoulder. Marvin, you see something and there's an embrace that you can feel, and you're the only one in the room, and that's their spirit. And I just hope that you guys definitely know that. And
there's so many levels to looking at this.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times you scratch on the surface, but this has been known for eons that energy never dies. Energy transforms.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, you know that there's no death, right? That's another way of kind of looking at it, and there's a lot to unpack from that perspective. Things transform in different levels. So you got the spirit and soul, you got the physical body, right? It's a whole nother level, and that rabbit hole runs really deep. And I don't want to be speaking for hours going to that, but I don't really want to go too deep into that. But when you're holding someone's memory and you're remembering the great times and you remember what made them unique, right? What is that?
Mm.
that is something, right? So whatever you believe in is great, right? But understand that there's different levels of feeling that, and it's kind of one of these things, right? That's not to say it makes things easier, because it is what it is. They're not here. However, that memory and love can still be a part of you, ongoing forever.
Yeah. So true. Lynette says some of us were taught that time heals all wounds, and that's not necessarily true. Thanks,
No.
Lynette, for that. Lynette, for that
Thank you,
awesome
Lynette.
comment.
Yeah,
Also want to say hello to Mike Samayo. He just sent me a comment. So Mike's on YouTube watching us. So thank you for everyone watching us on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So, but that Liz is, like Paula said, she's 1,000,000,000% correct, and there's just not enough that we can kind of put on that. But 1,000,000,000 is perfect. You're so right with that. I cry to this day for my grandmother,
right.
like if she passed away right now, and I bawl out, and I get those reminders, but
One of the things that was said to me, Charlie, and it's funny that you talk about your grandmother, because I lost my grandmother in 2018, and somebody said something to me. They said, where there is great grief, there was great love.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't hit the nail on the head, then I don't know what does. I mean, because I think that's one of the biggest things, especially in a lot of families. And let's unpack that, especially the Portuguese community, which I am Portuguese, French, and Spanish.
Okay.
They'll sit there and they'll say, okay, well, he's gone. He's gone. So how are you? You should be doing great. You should think positive. What's up? And I think that's the hardest part with people, is when you have a family structure who have been mentally taught throughout generations. You bury the person, you bury everything. You move on. I mean, I know my neighbor right across the street. Her sister passed away, and she told me that when her sister passed away, when she was younger, her mom took out every photo of her sister and no longer had another photo of her sister.
Yeah.
And these are the things that, and Marvin, and I think you can understand this. That's where the trauma kicks in, right?
Yeah.
The triggers. Because now, instead of having the family support, you don't.
Yeah. I think there's so many things that trigger. I think this phrase I've used a lot lately, on top of grace, and grace is for you because of how you look at the world. Sometimes you just gotta kind of be easy with yourself. I also think the grace is for others as well, because others may not truly comprehend what you're going through, and a lot of times they're trying their best, even if it's something where they're going through something as well. So you give people that grace of what they're going through. But but Paula, to your point, oh my gosh, there's always a million triggers.
Yeah.
And one of the things I say a lot to myself, and I use this as like a song, like lean back and let go. I'll even do a dance on that. Because sometimes it captures yourself when you're in this place of your mind's taken over. And so you do things to kind of break that cycle. And so I like lean back and let go. And it's kind of, it just makes things just a little bit lighter, because grief is kind of like the heaviest thing you can probably put on your back, right? And sometimes we got to be a little bit lighter on ourselves, and just, that doesn't minimize the situation, but for sometimes you can't handle something too heavy on you. Sometimes you just got to make things just a little lighter. It doesn't take away from the fact, the seriousness of it, but my goodness, sometimes just being a little bit lighter. And I don't know, that these are things that I use to cope as well. For each individual could be different. along the way.
Yeah, and I think that one of the biggest things too is what you said, Marvin, and to kind of piggyback on what you are talking about is you have to do what works for you, right? And I always tell my parents, I was talking to one today from California. She lost her 13-year-old, and he was actually the first victim in the United States, the first regarding fentanyl poisoning. And she was just having a hard day today. And this is kind of what, like, we kind of know these things. It's like the universe is like, okay, this is who you got to call. And one of the things that she said, and she's so right, she said, what people don't understand with grief is that it's kind of like you're going into the ocean and you stand waist up and you turn around. You don't know the wave that's coming at you.
Mm.
And when it hits, you're like, okay, now I need to work on this. Let's pick up the pieces. Let's work through this 20-foot wave, the 1-foot wave. And I'm like, wow, that's such a great analogy, because I think that's how people understand what grief really is. And don't be afraid to treat yourself with kindness. Michael Simeo just said that. Yes, absolutely. You have to, because unfortunately the world will not.
See, that's the grace I'm talking about. That's the grace. That's my favorite word now. Grace is everything. Because if you don't have that for yourself, you can't expect that from others. But you got to first start with yourself, having a level of grace. And you got to have grace for other people too, because you never know what someone's going through at a given moment. I could have came on today and told you guys, you know what? This is the worst day ever.
Right.
Or Charlie, you could have said, or Paula, you could have said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, my worst days consist of, Charlie already knows, and you're going to get to know this, Marvin, and everyone out there knows, is throat punching people. So that's there you go.
All right, okay. All right.
Charlie knows this.
Paula, you grew up in Massachusetts as well, right?
I did. I grew up I am in Massachusetts, yes.
Y'all some spicy folks in Massachusetts. I got to tell you, man.
Yeah.
You know what? But you know what? I came prepared today with a bunch of love, so I'm sure what I got for you. Check it out.
Yes, I love
That's
that.
it. Beautiful. I love it. I'm jealous. Totally jealous.
I love that. And it's funny that you just put that out there, Charlie, about hope, because something was sent to me today. You said, when hope is gone or missing, what do you do or look for? And what was sent to me today is hope. Hold on. Pain ends.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yep.
And I don't think it ends. I think it just, it's
Can
there.
you say that again? Can you say that again?
Wait a minute. I'm going to patent this, okay? Because you take a lot of my stuff. Charlie's always taking my stuff, Marvin. So it's called hope. Hold on. Pain ends.
Mm.
And it doesn't end. And that's not what we're telling you. What we're telling you is just, like Marvin said, look for the grace. Be good to yourself. Because unfortunately, society will not.
No.
And find your tribe. Because your tribe is the one who's going to help you in your time of need, where when you are at rock bottom, as many of us are, no one but your tribe will know that that's where you are.
That's true. That's true.
I think
so true.
I wanted to ask you that question, and just because some people listening right now, their hope is gone, and where thoughts of suicide are definitely being contemplated. So we, I just wanted to hear from you guys, and what do you turn to? How do you deal with it? But some people don't have hope no matter what, right? Hope was never a meaning for them, or a necessity. And I don't know if you know what I mean, but everything that they come across, there's no hope, right? Life is what it is. And I'm just gonna deal with it, take care of it. And in most cases, it's it's usually something negative, right? So sometimes we have to define hope for some people, you know. I don't know if you hear in the background, but it is raining pretty bad in New Bedford, Massachusetts. And so I'm just below a skylight. And so if you're hearing some raindrops, it's not soft music that I have in the background. It is the actual raindrops, you know.
I don't hear anything.
All right, because it's kind of echoing in my my headset. So sounds like you guys will be hearing it too.
I think Paula said it perfectly.
Yeah.
Your tribe and people to reach out to, and I sometimes think secondary set of people or maybe someone anonymous to talk to, because your tribe may be going through things as well. So I think you always got to have some form of outlet, especially people. I was in a unique situation where I had others who were dependent on me. So while I had time to work to get myself at a better place, I felt at some point it was like, listen, I just got to keep this thing moving. I didn't want that to be my final chapter in terms of, there's a guy who lost his lovely wife and he was never the same again. Of course, I was never the same again. But you know what? There's other chapters, and I felt like, I had a higher zest for life. But I think that comes just over a period of time. But I didn't have that at first. I was like, well, damn, you start having all these things. Why couldn't it have been me? I would have easily traded places in the beginning. So I didn't have that zest for life. But at some point, it came. I had people who were like, hey, listen, the world needs you and I need you. But some people don't have that, Charlie, to your point. And you hope they can have outlets of places they can go to kind of get that. Your point, Paula, it's a cruel ass world out here. And when somebody's down, some people get kicked when they're down. That's just how it is. People love the people who are perceived to be winners and they're happy-go-lucky and they got all things going on well in their lives. People want to jump on that bandwagon, but when someone's hurting or something, sometimes people treat them like they got the plague, and that's just a fact. So I think everything Paula says, I totally second that. But then having a secondary outlet, I think is paramount, because everybody at time goes through something. That's kind of my thoughts around that.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest things I always say, I'm sorry, Charlie, is, sometimes, and I will never say don't go speak to someone or a counselor or someone, but sometimes, and I found this with me, I found that I rather speak to my parents who are me than speak to someone who has 5 degrees up on a wall saying that they can help me.
Right.
Because they can't. And sometimes it's very important too. And yeah, there is a lot going on. And one of the things I always tell people is hold on, because the world needs you. You are important. We need you.
Yeah.
And yes, the world is crazy right now. I spoke about this to a former agent, and I was actually very surprised that this agent even said this. An agent who 30 years in federal position, and he said, Paula, we're going through a spiritual warfare. And I was like, wow, I never thought I would hear something like that coming from a federal agent. And this is to hear, because that's exactly what we're going through. And he said, Paula, the devil is working hard, and he is. He is. And if you have people that you can reach out to, even if it's your neighbor, someone that you feel you can speak to, who's not going to judge you, because that's the other thing, Marvin, is so many people will go and talk to someone and they're going to sit there and judge them. And they're going to say, well, hey, it's been a year, you should really be here. Well, it's been 2 years, you should be here. That's not the person for you. Walk away. Walk away. You should be able to come in and speak what you're feeling and have nothing but unconditional love and support from that person listening. And that's exactly the message That is the message that I can give to everyone out there, because as everyone knows, when I, in my darkest moments, and Phil shared this with all of you, I wanted to not only join my son, but I wanted to go to the cemetery and bury him out.
Mhm.
I
That
mean,
is
Phil
correct.
Phil didn't know what to do with me. He's like, oh my God, she's freaking psycho. She's crazy. But those are all normal thoughts to have.
They are. They are normal thoughts. To my point, it's just like your will gets diminished, and either you build it up or other people are helping you build it back up. But honestly, I think sometimes we may collectively put this at the most complicated piece, but I just think those reminders that people can catch on. Just sometimes we just do better, and it could be something simple. You could pay forward a smile. How you doing today? Something. Imagine if you walked out here tomorrow and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to be so self-centered. I'm going to say hi to a stranger, because you never know. That could be the one thing that makes a difference for somebody. It could be something, if you have the means, buy somebody a coffee or just something. Maybe a smile to someone. Let someone over on the highway or something. Collectively, those are the things that I tend to say to people sometimes. It's like, just do better. Just be an example for that. I'm like, I made a joke of this, and again, I try to make light of life sometimes, because sometimes we take this shit far too serious. But imagine during a political season, people are like, you know what? Well, you're on one side now, that hate you for this and that, like the same thing they did with the vaccines and all that. Imagine if it was just a day where people just got together, and like they did in the '60s, where they had a, instead of a day of voting, a day of people making love. You'd be a whole lot happier people, a lot of great endorphins out there for people just feeling better. And sometimes just take a step back. That's why I say lean back and let go. Really, just that's what I talk about, love and grief. That this is why with Liz and I talk about, we talk about love and grief, because my goodness.
Yeah, it's I like when you kind of change it up, Marvin, with love and grief, and you put embracing love and grief,
Yeah.
and it kind of adds to the title, makes it a little bit more deeper, and so which leads to this question: what has what has the love and grief given you, good, bad, or ugly, and ugly, or ugly? You can separate into one more than the other, but what has it given you? Because love and grief is going to leave something behind. And what is that something that it left behind?
You asking me, or you asking
Either
both?
either one, either one of you or both of you. You know.
I think personally, grief is the ugliest damn thing I've ever been through in my life. It's the hardest thing you go through. And like I say, I look at it as the state of being. And it's kind of like digging out of sand, what they call quicksand, digging out of that. I think the love part is that so from that, I have learned to love everything on a deeper level. And maybe
Mm.
maybe that's a side effect. Charlie, I love you so much. Paul, I love you. I love
Mhm.
your husband. I just love people so much more now. I don't know. Maybe that was waiting to be sprouted up in my nature. I don't know. I just love things so much more. It could be the best cookie I've ever had. Boy, I'm just loving that thing down. So and I guess I don't know. I guess that's somewhat of a good thing, because you never thought you could ever love anything again. You start to feel that whole lot of love and empathy for people. I don't know where the hell it came from, but I will tell you this though: being married to someone, you're sleeping next to them, you're sharing DNA all the time. Perhaps some of that, Kristen, rubbed deep off into my essence, because when you are married to someone, you are as of one. Whether you have a parent, whether you have a loved one, a child, you are intertwined from a DNA perspective. And so that DNA goes both ways, right? And so we will continue to be etherically connected to them for the rest of our lives. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I go from the worst part of I hate it more than ever. I hate it more than everything to have something I need to really build with someone with. And Krista never looked at me. Gosh, Marvin got another crazy story again. She's like, all right, come on, let's chat about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying? So you miss that part, but the part of just loving everything more, man, I guess that part's okay.
Yeah.
I think for me, or for many grieving parents, it's a little different. And the reason it's different is because when you lose your child, and I'm sure, Marvin, you felt the same way after losing your wife, you hate everybody and everything.
Yep.
You don't want to talk to anyone. Don't even bring Jesus and God up, because it's like they're like the plague right now. Don't tell me, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear it. And I think what happens with many of us, and I know it's happened with me, and I think Charlie has seen this, you know, I just don't take nonsense anymore. I don't, or drama. And if that's what you are, I want nothing to do with you. I just don't, because I look at it as I'm broken. I will never be whole again. I just won't. I tell people I've lost 33%. 33% of me is gone forever. That was my son. 33% gone. That's it. Gone. The Paula you knew is not the Paula that's in front of you today. And I think, and it goes back to Marvin, what you were saying is really protecting your mental space and your mental peace, because some people will just go in and think that, well, you know, it's been a year, Marvin, you should be moving on. Well, Paula, it's been 2 years going on 3. What's up? Like, seriously, come on now. You truly have to protect your mental peace. You have to. Charlie, for you with your grandmother, it's been so many years. What's up? Come on. Like, seriously, you're still crying. And this is why I say all the time, you have to have your tribe. You have to, because those are the people that will say, bump them. Let's talk. I'm here to listen. That's it. And I think that's what it's done. I don't think I know this is what it's done to me, because I just, and I could bring 500 parents on right now, and they would probably tell you the same thing. We are at a level where we just won't take nonsense. We won't. And don't expect us to sit here and justify certain things to you, because we don't have to. You know, and it's like you, Marvin. I mean, that was your wife. That was the love of your life. That was your partner. You know, you shared things. So for someone to come and tell you how you're supposed to be,
And I've been fortunate because the people around me, I don't think there was a time when someone say, well, they may have said at some point, you'll be over her. And I'm like, well, no, I don't care. Tomorrow, I could be in the most serious relationship. She's always still going to be a part of my heart. That's just, and so that part will never change. And I think people have to understand it. And I think Liz and I will kind of continue to understand that, because that's the love part we talked about, because people gotta understand this. Like, that may be a day, it was like, holy shit, I'm not in my best place. And you know the reason behind, you can't be upset. It's just, this is life. And Paula, I think to your point, what you were saying is like the being broken. Yeah, broken in a million pieces. And you know, the ugly side is, I'm glad love sprouted out, because the ugly side of that was like this intense anger. I'm like, I'm ready to rip someone's throat out. And honestly, and that my level of anger was so high. And I was like saying to myself, I know how dangerous it can be. And I really try to put that part of my nature in a cage somewhere and keep it bolted and all that, because that part is not just bad for me, but is bad for the world. And that's because that's that side of grief, losing love. Like, man, you gotta understand, hey, listen, there's a side of that where you're like, holy crap, that person may need to be in a cage somewhere, because you're just ready to And some it may come out. Do you drive around, Paul? You ever been out to LA?
You know, I have. I went to. Is it Brea? Is that how you say it? Brea?
Brea, yeah, Brea.
Brea. Yes, I went to
Spell it
Brea,
out.
and there was this lovely restaurant that Phil and I went to that we absolutely love. I can't think of the name right now. I gotta remember, but oh my gosh, they had the best freaking Sunday brunch. They had like 20 tables of food. It was just amazing. I loved it. And you know, Phil has a plant there. So I definitely want to go back because I think, you know, that's the other thing too, Marvin, is sometimes you need to take yourself out of where you are and implant yourself into another place, maybe a little bit more sunshine, right? Because everybody is facing seasonal depression right now, especially here in Massachusetts, where honest to God, it seems like someone's flicked a switch because of one day it was 8, you know, the sun was out at 8:30, and then the next day it's 4:15 and it's dark. You know, it's like someone, like the
We
switch
got
is
a couple more weeks of that. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, so I was comparing it to the traffic that y'all driving because that's the one thing out here that kind of triggers me all the time. That traffic out here because people just they're like tailgating. I'm like, okay, they're going to get to where they need to, and you need to move. So
Mhm.
that's the only thing that I can say in times of the rage. I've gotten better. Not that and rude people. You know, maybe that's the East Coast thing. We don't like people bumping into us and all that. So I brought that to California, and I'm like, okay, I can't. I understand that people are people, and sometimes you got to leave your ways somewhere else. So
Mhm.
See, you're better than me, Marvin, because my husband already knows, and Charlie, I will cuss you out. Okay. I am that one that's cussing you out. I am the one that will go and knock on your window and be like, seriously, dude? Seriously,
Mhm.
did you just cut me off and almost hit
oh
that
my
person?
gosh,
Like,
oh my
ser-
God.
yes.
Yeah, you better stay out of LA.
You gotta stay out of LA because these folks are here to shoot people for road rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to remember that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not trying.
Well, Massachusetts is no better. You know that, right? Between Massachusetts, New York, and LA, I think we all have the idiosyncrasies that we all have with traffic and just the road rage. But sometimes one of the things that helped me when I was going into Boston, when I worked for a company out of Boston, is I would sit on 93 because it was a parking lot, and I could tell,
Mhm.
literally, I would have people call me, hey, what's the flight pattern at Logan? And I could literally tell you when to book your flight, when not to, because the international flights are coming in on this day and this day. This is the slowest. Like I felt like I was an air traffic controller.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's what helped you, just sitting there looking at the planes coming in and out. So you're not going out and throat punching people every day.
Yeah, I think and I think and Charlie, that was a really good question. I really think
Thank you.
how do you distress yourself? I think when I think about love and grief, and I'm working to get better at that. Like I tell you, listen, I'm learning. I don't have all the answers. I'm trying something new all the time. Just sometimes just to feel better and de-stressing. You know, I have some people say, "Hey, what do you do to de-stress?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I work and try to make sure I help my daughter get to a better place." Those are the two things on my plate all the time. And I'm thinking about, man, you gotta sometimes take a step back and do something for yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the what do you guys think about this?
A road trip?
The
Let's
one
go, Charlie. I'm ready.
oh, yeah,
Coming out to LA, folks.
I don't think Charlie wants to even fly with me. Never mind get in a car with me.
that's it. She's gonna be in the front. I'm gonna be in the back.
Really? Do we really want to do that?
Well,
Because
actually, let's
if Phil were
reverse
here
that.
right now, he'd be like driving Miss Daisy. That's what I'd be
Yeah.
doing. Because you'd be in the back and I'd be driving you.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a road trip. I don't know. I might have to tell Paula. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there, Paula.
Charlie, we have a couple of comments coming through. David
okay.
Andrade. Everyone grieves in their own unique way, but the grief never ends. Grief eventually finds its place, its compartment, and that allows you to live with it, but it stays with you till dying day. Absolutely true. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
There's
Yes.
no doubt. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Christy,
that's
I will
perfect.
absolutely go to Florida, girl. You don't even know. Don't even ask me twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. Andrade, thank you for that great comment.
Thank
that
you.
was a great. That was a great. Thank you, David.
And so the what I was gonna suggest is when we do these shows, you know, I want to introduce something, maybe kind of bring a friend to the podcast. You know, maybe you guys might want to bring a friend or suggest a friend to come on the podcast with you, to make them feel comfortable. If you see it, if you feel it, if they're expressing some kind of grief to you, you know, bring that friend here. You know, let's talk about it because it.
You know, I got an idea to supplement that, and I think
Yep.
Paul would probably agree. Maybe a week before we go on, we could always make a post and share it. We can make a post and share it. Hey,
Mhm.
we understand people are going through this. Love to chat about it. No pressure. Just come on and just chat. We all learn together because none of us has all the answers.
I agree. I like that. All right. Oh, I got a mental note of it and make sure I'm on point.
Marvin needs to come on
yeah.
our Monday night podcast. You know why, Marvin? Because Charlie asks me football questions, and because I suck, he ends up laughing at me every Monday night hysterically, as everybody else does, because I don't know the answer.
Football. You know what? Baseball is my favorite sport. I love football too.
Yeah. It's speaking of baseball, you know, the Red Sox are not doing anything, and that's the reason why I'm a Dodgers fan now.
What?
And this
Not the Mets.
this
not the Mets?
completely no.
The $700 million contract.
Yeah. Well, Red Sox always had that money, you know, and now they act like they don't have it. Well, as of last year, I started rooting for the Dodgers
Really?
mainly because I lived in LA, so I do have some standing there.
Okay.
And also that the Mookie Betts was one of my unbelievable favorite Red Sox player that got away, and and just to think how much they let him go for was they could have gave him more and they didn't. And I think at that final year, he finally just said, "They're gonna offer me something, but I'm already my mind is already set that I want to go elsewhere." And now it's the Dodgers. Well, the Red Sox organization just kind of proved all my feelings about that organization is that they don't care about getting any top-notch agent here or a baseball player here rather. They're just not going to spend. And now it's proven 3 days in a row they try to go after top free agents, and they just threw money out there, a very small figure, just to throw it out there. If they wanted Juan Soto, all they had to do was just step up the price. And I guarantee you, whatever you're asking him, he's going to get it right back to you pretty fast. And that's proven with Little Bronny. Look, Little Bronny was signed for $9 million.
Yeah.
He produced $41 million for the LA Lakers. And you seen what he did was practically nothing. But
right.
The LA, yeah,
it is nothing.
It is nothing. But he produced. They said, "I'll give you $9 million for $41 million, no problem. That's a no-brainer. I'll take that all day," and they did. That's my sports talk for tonight, and but I truly want to say that, Marvin, I'm a baseball fan too, and so when you hear anything about the Dodgers, I'm probably right there reading that stuff with you because I'm following.
I don't read it. I'm far from. I'll never be a Dodgers fan. I'm diehard Orioles fan. Black
Oh,
and orange forever, brother. Yeah, there's just no way. Darn. Plus, I mean, they're buying their championships, right? I like the homegrown. I like, when I was younger, it was Jim Rice and Cal Ripken. They were homegrown. They played, and
Yeah.
teams built from there. I don't know. I'm a Lakers fan. I'm less of a Lakers fan now
hmm
because all that hoopla around all that stuff. No, man,
Yeah.
that's not Lakers basketball.
I had to save money for almost a whole month to get the Sports Illustrated magazine with Jim Rice on it,
Hmm.
and I was very determined to get it. I forget, probably I was 11 years old, maybe 10, 11 years old when he was on the front cover,
Hmm.
and I saved and saved because he was my favorite player,
Right.
and so
That's baseball,
yeah.
not the stuff with Juan Soto. You guys would be glad you didn't get him in Boston because I hear he was looking for a suite and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on now.
But that's what they've created, though. I mean,
I agree.
let's
I agree.
let's talk about it for a minute here. I mean, they've created these monsters. They've
Yep.
created these divas. This is not like back in the day of the Babe Ruth era, right? This is not where we're at. We are in a society where you have athletes making more money than a freaking doctor who takes care of you, or even the president of the United States. There's
Right.
something wrong with that.
I would agree. But I think that the monsters have been created.
Yes.
Yeah. They definitely they say all the players combined only equal a very small percentage of what the owners own and have
What they're
and are
making.
worth. Yeah. So it's only like 1 to 2%. And that's all of them combined. So that's crazy.
And then you got
The-
their egos. Let's not talk about the egos of the owners, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, come on, we have it here in New England with Robert Kraft. He didn't get into the Hall of Fame again, so now he's hurt. So
he didn't get a Hall of Fame?
Oh no.
No.
No. There's bad blood there. So yeah.
Wow,
So,
that's surprising.
yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's how they play, and now he's taking it out on the team, right? I mean, the team just is not doing very well at all, and that's what happens.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to step down and let Jonathan Kraft run the show. But that doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon.
Nope.
All right, my friends, we got 9:36, so I just want to kind of end with a very, very special note from you guys. Anything possible, and you want to leave a message with this podcast. So, what message would you deliver to the people on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn?
Well, ladies first. Go ahead, Paul.
I think it would just please understand that we hear you and we are here for you because we understand that life is tough. We get it. We get it more than a lot of other folks. And please know that this is a safe space. And if you ever want to come on, we're here to listen because this is non-judgmental. You're not going to get anything but unconditional love, comfort, and support from all of us.
I second that.
Yeah, I second it. And thank you, Paula and Charlie.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a safe space. I think this is an opportunity for us to come together and learn. Maybe it's something that can help people through grief or what they're going through. But I think it's a safe space, but I think it's a place where people can come and be vulnerable. Just be yourself. And I love the part where it's a safe space and a no judgment zone. But this is an opportunity for people just to come together. Hey, it's where I'm at. This is where I'm at, and then we can learn. So come on, please do.
It's great. One question, Marvin, how's Liz doing?
My partner,
I
my
didn't
part-
ask.
my partner Liz. I mentioned a little bit about her. She couldn't make it on. She's doing well.
Good.
I stay very grateful to her. We wouldn't be doing a podcast without her suggestion. So I stay very grateful, and man, I love this woman to death because I remember at the Celebration of Life, and I always tell this story. She was like, "Hey, please, just use me, come," because I was like, I didn't know where to go from there, and she was like, and we would talk every month. She was a part of, hey, help you out along the way, anything you need, and we talked and talked until 6 months in. I was like, hey, you should do a podcast. And I'm like, okay, you is going to become we. And so we started getting together and do that. And it was great because it comes from female and the male perspective. And, we focus on all grief, but we lean probably a little bit more on widows and widowers because I think in a lot of ways there is a different perspective and different mind share and mindset between both, or difference between both.
Exactly. Well, I think there's no better ending than that, and you guys have been wonderful. I'm glad we got the opportunity to share this time together once again. January 8th, we're going to do it one more time here on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Thank you all for listening, for commenting. The commenting is wonderful. It's definitely something that we really truly encourage, but we also encourage the invites. You are invited to this podcast. If you're going through a situation and you want to come on, just let us know. We will gladly add you to the mix, where you could be on the left or the right of Paula, or you could be on the left or right of Marvin, or the left or the right of Liz or myself. So please come on. And Phil, he's a slacker though. He's not here. He's just a slacker.
When you come and teach me how to use my mic that I'm still waiting on, you see it right here, then you can maybe say something to him.
Every time I put the GPS on my phone and I said, Siri, Paul and Phil's house, and you know what? It always sends me somewhere else. So, I mean,
How close do you all live to each other?
Oh gosh, 10 minutes?
5 miles. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I don't know. It's like the Bermuda Triangle over there. I just kind of can't get over there. I'm only joking. She is lives in a fabulous neighborhood, and yes, Charlie Perry has to get there. Hook up that microphone. I actually have something for you because I'm not using it, Paula, but it's something for your chair, and it's a green.
Is it a pillow? Because that's what I'm doing.
It's a green screen. I got a green screen for you. So if you want to put anything
on. Oh, Anthony just came on. Hi, Anthony.
Anthony Black,
from Los Angeles.
107 FM. Great DJ.
Same town.
Yeah, Marvin, this dude is definitely someone you should meet. You guys should hook up through Facebook. You're probably not too far from each other, and but Anthony is definitely a fabulous DJ. Got a voice with rhythm and blues in it. Definitely guy is a great dude. So if you have an opportunity, Anthony, reach out to Marvin Speller on Facebook. You guys connect, because I think you guys would be a great combination. So,
well, don't say we're probably close. LA is a huge.
Oh no! I mean, let's just say it's close enough. Facebook gets you connected, right?
Right?
And then you never know, because you can be this part of LA, but you have a meeting on the other end of LA, and guess what? Anthony may be pretty close over there. So let's get you guys connected as soon as you can. So, and he's saying, oh, let's see, what's he say here? My old man eyes, I can't read it. So doing VOs for Paramount and CBS. Awesome. And you do have that great voice. So you continue that and go from there. So Marvin, you might be hearing him on the radio, you know, he might be doing one of those little voiceovers, commercial, you know. I'm selling used cars at South Central LA.
There you go. There you go.
But you guys please get connected. So all
Okay.
right. And all right, everyone, have a blessed night. God bless you all. And if you're going through something, this is the crew you want to be with. This is the AKA tribe, as Paula says, that you want to be around. Come see us, come visit us, and tell your story. All right, y'all have a great, great night. I appreciate both of you and love you.
Thank you. Love you all.
Right. Take care.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.